My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Pastry Week!
Yum! It's delightful.
It is.
It's layers on layers of buttery goodness.
It's lemonade amazing.
It's a lemonatrix. It's going to,
Nobody enters the lemonatrix willingly. You have to experience it for yourself.
There is no spoon.
So, this week it's a complex week. It's a really complicated week. We dealt with a few things. Devon, obviously, which we'll come to. We dealt with the potential prospect of Mengling at one point looking like she was Star Baker.
Yes.
Some of us were dealing with Uzu.
The judges just looking amazing together. Like the colours, like that deep blue and the maroon, like throughout the outfits, and then that beautiful green.
Julia was very Sia.
I was about to call her Emma.
That's why I bailed you out. I could sense it was coming.
Do you reckon she originally did come out as Sia, right, with the hair forward? But someone's rushed in with some hair clips going, come on, we can't do this. She's like, but
No, she had the swirl.
What a swing from the bunting.
No. So
okay.
She had the swirl though, and what happened was, I think, that Andre went, well, look, later on I'm making some croissant. If you could not have the swirl, because it's awkward when somebody comes dressed as my bakes. And so she went, sorry, and fixed it all up. So
imagine doing like a bake-off party, right, where you have to come dressed as your favourite bakes. I'd go naked and I'd go, I've come as a nude cake.
I pity the person who turns up as the soggy bottom. Anyway, we began this week on Pastry Week with Dan and what we referred to as his "It's Dignity" moment.
Luann.
How can you expect me to draw dignity when I don't even know what it is?
And one of them, I think it was the croissant, was a little dignity-like in how he
It really was.
executed it on the paper.
Now, I have to mention this at the top of the episode, even though it actually happened at the end of the episode, because they showed it in the preview. And what they showed was something that made you giggle hysterically. They are showing everything that's happening in the episode as they do in their pre-cap, as I refer to it.
Yep.
And they're doing the pre-cap, and they're there, and they're this and this and this, and then they cut to the shot of Devon just pulling the cork on the bottle and deadpan looking at down the camera and going, Opa.
Just like poor Devon. Tonight was really great. Found out he's another gamer, and I'm like, wonderful. But unfortunately, he rolled a 1.
He did roll a 1. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the episode now. So they began with, and the other thing was as well, Andre talked about the fact that he suffered greatly before this. He was practicing his bakes, and he was having a bit of pain in now what he's referred to as baker's elbow. Imagine, what are some of the other potential, injuries you could suffer?
You could have Whisk's knee.
Whisk's knee? Yes, you could definitely have Whisk's knee. You could have Eater's jaw.
You could have Eater's jaw. You could have laminated wrists.
Oh, no, nothing worse than when you've got the double lamination on the wrist, too.
No.
That's a nasty play.
You could have the rolling pin gins. I'm trying to think of what a blister's called, and then just rhymed it with a random word.
It works.
Yes,
I'm going with that. So anyway, what we actually had to do first of all was not rename potential injuries into baking injuries. We had to make a slab pie.
Yum.
And by we, I mean the 6 Canadians inside the pavilion, not us personally. No. We didn't have to make a slab.
The only slab pie I've really seen is when you used to get the catering foil packs of pie from Sara Lee, because there used to be a Sara Lee factory near where we lived. So
everybody has to like something, but nobody doesn't like Sara Lee. Although from some of their baked goods, everybody has to like something, but nobody really likes Sara Lee. So
I like their chocolate Bavarians.
We know you like their chocolate Bavarians, but one of our favourite ones was they used to do the cake pie. Yes. And what was great in Australia was, I don't know if it was the same in Canada, but the ad that featured it was about the cake pie. And they'd cut to this guy in a Wild Western style hat there sitting there going, there's cake in this pie. And it was the most bizarre marketing strategy to sell baked goods.
The 80s.
Really weird. So what else was really weird? Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Dum ba dum ba dum 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 ba dum ba dum. Dum ba dum ba dum da da doodle 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 Inspector Gadget. So we got to this bit. We started off. Dan looks at Mengling and goes, "Have you ever made a slab pie before?" And Mengling just goes, "No."
Apples.
At which point Dan just looked straight down the barrel of the camera and went, "And we begin again." This was the most Mengling episode of all of the Mengling episodes.
And Dan is on board with it. And
their TV show will be amazing. They need a Canadian travel show.
Yeah,
like just a Canadian travel show where Mengling cooks. So what happens is Dan does all the pieces to camera and does all the touristy stuff. And then at the end of each day, Dan finds a random house with Mengling. They go through the pantry. They find whatever they can find. And Mengling has to bake something with it to the tune of, "Oh, no." And, "Oh, dear." And all sorts.
And there's always one cook that they make her do in a precarious location. You like that classic Luke Newen thing where he's like cooking on the beach as the tide's coming in.
Oh, the infamous episode, again, in Canada, you won't have any idea what we're talking about. Luke Newen, the Australian chef, at one point who was cooking seafood on the pier, and the wind blew really strongly and blew his pan into the Pacific Ocean. And he had to go fish his pan out of the ocean. This raised a question, though, because watching Mengling, because at the same point she's like, "I am working on the dough right now," and then there was a pause followed by, "Oh, geez." We heard in the first episode that Mengling bakes for her dog Nimbus. Now, that was a lovely, touching story, and we said, "Oh, what a great..." And we talked about the 7 birthdays a year, and we talked about the parties, and we'll get to a bit later on in this part. There are
some
apparently
favourite party games
gifts.
like Doggo.
There are gifts that turn up.
The tail on the Pomeranian.
There are guests that turn up to these parties, apparently. We'll come to those later. But more importantly, I'm starting to wonder
if that's her only baking.
Does she actually only bake for the dogs?
Because when something's brought up, she's like, "Have you made this before, Mengling?" "No." And so I really think that her baking experience is just centred around baking for her dog. And maybe her dog's just not a fan of pastry.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, although...
Nimbus is an anti-pastry dog.
Although, apparently, Mengling got most of Pastry Week spot on. So I'm thoroughly confused. But what we did also get was we got a staple that we got in the Australian Bake Off last series. We got what I refer to as the butter chat.
Yes.
Where everyone's making a pastry, so that means that you cut to everybody's bench as they sit there, look down the barrel of the camera and go, "Howard's butter."
And now we return you to Butter Chat.
Isn't butter amazing? Don't you love butter?
There was so much butter in the pavilion today. I swear Blind Maggie Beer has both zero come across on the Maggie copter.
For our Australian listeners, hashtag you ought to be congratulated.
Just circling it for her dragon hoard of butter. And for Devon, who was making a dragon. So inspired by Maggie, I'm sure.
Except there was a problem for poor Devon, because Devon at this point made a statement that, let's face it,
made me so happy.
But it also came back to haunt him. Well, this sentence came back to haunt him when he said, "You know what? I'm working out how much butter to put in there. And, I don't think you can put too much butter in pastry." Well, Devon, this episode served as a reminder that you can, and you definitely did. And you know what? I wonder if he does that at home in Regina. Experience Regina. We have to get it out of the way because this is the last time we can do it this series. Hang on. Let's finish with that one because I've got an idea for that.
Okay.
I think we need to finish with a haunting refrain.
For Regina.
And I think that's it.
Yes.
So we got into Devon, who made a D&D pie.
Which is fantastic. Now, it was great. His initiative roll, spot on. I presume that his dex scores, though, and his intelligence was down.
I don't know. I don't think he's a healer.
No, he's not a healer. I think his wisdom was and intelligence must have taken a hit. Maybe he got cursed or something in the last.
Is he a barbarian? I'm starting to think he's a barbarian.
Barbarian fighter, possibly. Just a little, and he was popping the alcohol by the end of the episode, so possibly a little ham-fisted with the butter. Me put butter in my pie.
He's got to be. He has to be. There's no other way to look at it. So Sachin then decided he was making a frangipane and apple. Because the deal was, again, we didn't sort of mention it, but you had to put whatever fruit you wanted in there. Now, I saw slab pie and I went, well, beef, but apparently that was not right. And
Sachin, I'm not too sure where he was going with his colour choices, because he's like, if you want your peacock to pop and it's in beige pastry, popping it on an apple.
The peacock don't pop if the pop's not there.
Yeah, maybe if he'd have, I don't know, glazed it with something.
I want my peacock to pop, he says, glazing a peacock thatched in beige pastry on a background of thatched beige pastry. So it just looked like it was...
You know what he was doing?
I don't know.
A 3D puzzle. You know the ones...
Puzzle 3D?
Puzzle 3D. That's
it's
what you
going
should have said, Sachin. You should have said to Rochelle and Bruno when they're critiquing, going, it's a 3D puzzle pie. Just look and let your eyes go out of focus a little bit and just look beyond the horizon and you'll suddenly see, oh my God, it's a sailboat.
It's a little bit like James's Croquembouche last series. Yeah. You had to visualise it. Right? He's not just going to present that image for you. You have to be at one with it. Yeah. It was a Magic Eye puzzle. It was a Magic Eye.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, not a 3D. It was Magic Eye.
Oh,
he had to sit there, you had to go cross-eyed. And you're like, oh my God, I see the peacock in the cross-eyes. And they just weren't prepared to judge like that.
I was really shit at those things. Okay, when they first came out...
Did you see anything apart from colours?
Okay, so, no, they'd go a bit swirly. So
I pass out?
Yeah, I was 8 years old. We were living down in Ultimo in the inner city, and there was this 3D Magic Eye stuck on the entertainment centre, and I don't know why. You know where the Macca's is? Everyone in Sydney will know this. The McDonald's Entertainment Centre, okay, who used to have two kinds of flavours of 30 soft serve cone, which is pretty cool. And they did the dual one too, so it had chocolate and vanilla. Anyway, they had this 3D, and I would just stare at it and not get it. And my mum would be like, "Come on, Kristie, hurry up."
We can't wait all day. So in other words, again, it is completely the scene from Mallrats.
It is.
It's a sailboat.
And so when I saw Mallrats, finally, I really felt for that character, because I'm like, that was my life.
I love that scene so much. It's one of my favourite scenes in any movie.
Shut up, Brenda.
When he walks past.
Shut him, Doherty.
When he walks past, at the end of when Affleck's character walked past, sulking, looks like sailboat. Damn you! So what we then also got was we got a few little interesting things happening. First of all, blueberries apparently were a bit of a theme. Everyone's starting to make blueberries, including the blue jean baby LA lady seamstress for the band that was Timothy, who made his tiny dancer pie. Bake it closer, tiny dancer. Blind bake the pastry in the oven. There's too much singing in this episode already. Let's dial it back. Dial it back.
Never enough singing.
Dial it back.
What do you want, people? More singing or less?
Tell us on the
vote
Twitters.
less.
Tell us something.
I mean more. I vote more.
You voted less.
Oh my God.
More. See, I'm now doing more of it anyway. All right. So blueberries and banana. Now,
had you at blueberries?
Lost me at banana. But Dan.
Yes.
He turned around and goes, so what did you do with the banana? And he's like, it's an interesting flavour. What did you do with the banana? And Timothy's like, I just chop it up and throw it in there. And Dan's like, that doesn't seem to be very precise. It was just random. I just chop them up and throw them in there.
It's a bit of a laissez-faire, kind of.
Then we cut back briefly to Gadget, who just looked at the camera and went, it's just so gosh darn big. And end scene. I hope that there's somebody online puts together a supercut of just Mengling quotes. No context. I don't want a context.
There's a lot of oh no.
There's lots of oh no. There's lots of oh dear. There's lots of I don't know. There's lots of we'll find out. I've never done this before, and random laughing. And that quote, just, I don't want it. I don't want context. I just want, it's just so gosh darn big. Scene, just perfect scene right there. And then there was Megan. So now she's coming off the back of Starbaker. She admitted that there is the Star Baker pressure. She didn't call it the curse. We all know it's a curse. She didn't call it the curse, though.
Yes.
Sadia thought of that last week, obviously. You know, you're not quite past that, we know. Now...
Give me a moment. Go back to Megan. And she talked about her grandma.
Okay, so we need to go back to Megan for a couple of reasons. So first of all, we need to go back to Megan because she was the only one who decided not to blind bake.
No.
May have turned out to be a bit of a disaster, and we'll come back to that in a moment. What I loved, though, was that Megan turned around and made it sound like this was some form of proud family heritage when she went, I'm sticking to how I was raised. We don't blind bake pies.
Well, it's better than racism.
Again, I was going to say, a lot of people, you know, their deep cultural heritage is what they blame racism on.
Yeah.
Megan, I love that her family instead is clearly, obviously not racist. They're just don't blind
blind bakist.
Yeah, they're blind bakist instead. You know, they're welcoming to all races, creeds, and colours of every description.
Yeah.
But if you blind bake a pie, scum.
Yeah.
So, Andre. Now, he made his strawberry with balsamic mixture. It looked incredible.
And what a choice to make too in terms of those flavours. But I think my favourite line was when Bruno's gone, ooh, it's a sweet, juicy fruit. And I was expecting Dan to like just pop up and go, you rang?
I'm here! We then cut back to Gadget, who was cutting out pastry shapes. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So that's the top of her pastry. What is she? Are they...
They're dogs.
They're dogs. What she was doing was she was baking her dog's best friends. I can only assume these are the...
Strata and
she
Cumulus.
She gave the names, I know. It wasn't... There was.
I just presume they're more cloud.
No, they were really cutesy names. I can't remember them now for the life of me. I didn't write them down. We know her dog's Nimbus. I can only assume, though, that these are the party guests.
Yes, every party. Seven
times a year. They have to bring 7 lots of gifts.
Well, it's 21. Maybe she makes it for all 3 of these dogs.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. What if these
This is her entire baking industry.
I reckon these dogs are like the girls that I was born in hospital with, that our mums forced us to see each other every year to celebrate our birthdays. And, like, there was a few issues growing up and stuff. Like, a couple of them were, there was a bit of bullying and whatever. But I've made peace with that now, and they're pretty cool ladies. So I'm just wondering if these dogs were all born in the same vet.
Possibly. They're from the same kennel.
Veternity clinic.
They're from the same kennel. Now, at this point, Dan did indeed raise doggy summer camp. And the idea they go on camps together.
Look, with Mengling, it wouldn't surprise me.
Now...
She probably sent a lot of baked goods in like little parcels each week.
Now, I know a lot of people at home are currently screaming, you missed out a really important element of Megan's bake. No, I didn't miss it out. I was hoping that everyone would acknowledge the fact that I, unlike the rest of you, will not fall for this conspiracy and would not acknowledge that I'm going to have to.
Hold on, I've just got to go to the kitchen and grab some alfoil because I think you need to make your tinfoil
I need
hat.
to make my hat. So her cake, her pie, by the way, was referred to as farm views. There was torched meringue, and the torched meringue looked wonderful.
I like how she sends her kids and her husband out to berry pick. So
okay,
if you want me to bake,
so
go picking.
So what we're saying is that Megan can't actually confirm the existence of Saskatoon berries. Now, before I even saw this episode, the Twitter lit up like a Christmas tree with everybody alerting me, thank you James too, in particular, who was the first one on that, to tell me that there were Saskatoon berries again. And they have made a triumphant, apparently, return. Now, Megan sends the kids and her husband out to pick the berries. I can only assume that they are in on this conspiracy. Megan isn't aware of the existence of these berries in terms of them actually coming from, she's never seen them picked. They go and do that. She just cooks whatever they bring back.
Do you reckon her husband's playing a joke on her and just gaslighting her, making her think they're blueberries? Come on, kids.
I'm convinced I know what
He's actually an Aussie dad just being hilarious like my dad is, just doing funny things like Dad, who I said to him, like, oh, have you got the research for our link to Ned Kelly? He goes, I was just making that up. I'm like, what? Dad, on like numerous occasions, you like blank-faced said that we were related to Ned Kelly.
It makes me feel a lot better that you're not, by the way.
I'm really happy about that.
Famous bushranger, bit of a dick, but idolised by a lot of people because, people idolise those people.
Did not say such his life before he died. But anyway, like, I'm like...
Also killed people.
Yeah, he killed a lot of people. I mean, they're corrupt cops, but,
Not just cops.
Okay, so...
Back to this, because you stopped my rant, so go.
Yeah, so... I'm just presuming that Megan's husband is like a bit of a larrikin, like my dad. And he's going, come on, kids. But, Dad, these are blueberries. No, let's tell your mum they're Saskatoon berries.
What I'm convinced of more than ever, and the documentary is underway, by the way. It's very much underway. I'm not joking. It's underway. But
we've got a grant in for Film Australia.
I've gone to Film Australia too. They're confused why I'm making a Canadian documentary. Anyway, more importantly, I'm
Nicole Kidman.
I'm going to BMX Bandits 4.
You at least need to get David Wenham in there.
I'm more convinced than ever now that Saskatoon berries are blueberries that have been left to soak in raspberry, cranberry, and possibly juniper berry sort of emulsion to slightly change the flavour of them and make them look a little bit texturally different. I'm convinced this is a cottage industry. I think it goes all the way to the top of Canadian society.
It's a Trudeau thing?
No. Don Cherry. Ron McLean. I'm looking at you. Hockey night in Canada is a front for Saskatoon berries. Don Cherry gets on the TV, get the buck with the good Canadian, and I got the berries out the back with a bone at the back of my, and Ron is there as the straight-faced sort of guy to keep Don in check, but what he's actually doing, he's the bag man. I am convinced that Hockey Night in Canada is a front, and it is responsible for Saskatoon berries.
We interrupt this broadcast. Oh my God.
Anyway, so Devon's blind bake didn't work.
Yes.
Now, funnily enough, as we said, too much butter.
Just a little too much there,
Nobody
Devon.
gets
You know what happened?
Too much butter no more.
He's gone to the DM. He's gone, look, I'm going to roll for butter. I'm going to see how much I can steal. And the DM's like, but you don't have any things. He's like, oh, this will be fine. I'll just get as much butter as I can. And the DM's like, all right, roll away. And he's just rolled and he's, got a 20 and he's gotten all this butter and he feels compelled to use it.
Do you get the feeling as well that Andre made the dice for him and he's like, Andre made the dice, how can I fail?
Exactly. But what I thought was a bit interesting, it was only like a 6-face dice. I didn't see if it went into any other shapes.
I think it was just a normal die.
Okay.
We'll have to ask him at some point. So, Dan.
Yes.
At this stage, he'd been lurking with intent. But that intent had not been fulfilled until he went back to Gadget. And the dynamic television duo. Dan turns to her and goes, so when do I get to eat? And she was making like the moon and stars. And she turns around and goes, you're a star! And hands him a small star cookie for him to eat. And it was at this point that I posited a new Mengling theory. This is a theory-laden... We're only in the first challenge, mind you.
Yep.
But this is a theory-laden episode because we've talked a lot about the fact that we think that Megan is Penny and we think that Andre is Brain.
Wow.
But Andre has only really been there for, like, these weeks in the shed, which leads us to ask the question, who is the real Brain? And there's only one answer.
It's Nimbus.
It's got to be Nimbus.
Nimbus is Brain.
Does Nimbus have, out of his collar, like a little transmitter?
Rural.
Like, is Nimbus actually Brain?
And then her husband's or her partner's Penny.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yes, okay.
I think we've got it.
Yes.
I think we've cracked it. Oh, mate, no, it's one of the other dogs is Penny.
It's
one of the friends.
Cumulus.
That's why they hang around all the time. Now, Devon at this point checked his oven and there was smoke billowing. To which Julia turned around and went, So you're doing a smoked pie?
See, I was worried that there was so much smoke and he kept opening it and closing it that, like, some, like, Indigenous Canadians were going to come up and go, dude, that's cultural appropriation, get the fuck out of it.
The other thing I really appreciated, by the way, was the tone that Andre took with him, because Andre came over to check it and he's looked in there and he's like, how much butter did you put in that, Devon? And it was like when the child's feeling really sick.
I stole from my 20-year-old.
It was like when the child's feeling really sick and the mother goes, how much candy did you eat? And he's like, I didn't eat that much. Devon had the same look on his face. I put a bit in.
His role to actually procure the butter was fantastic. His wisdom role on how to use the butter was a fucking one.
Not good. To which Julia then finished the challenge with the immortal, hands off your slabs. At which point Dan, like, nearly lost the plot. It was really funny. He did a good job of controlling himself, I thought, actually, in that moment.
Although I was disappointed there wasn't like a Frankenfurter reference, you know, come up to the lab and see what's on the slab
pie. And there were different things. Now, Timothy's looked amazing, but it was ridiculously underbaked. And the reason was when Rochelle looked at him and went, so how long did you bake this for? Blind bake this for? And he goes, 20 minutes. As she said, if you're going to blind bake it,
bake it.
Blind bake it, like really blind bake it. Andre's, I just wrote, looked amazing, a perfect pie. That was all we had to write for that.
That strawberry looked fucking glazed to perfection.
His colours today were just so impressive.
Popping.
Sachin. Now, there was that lack of contrast.
Popping.
His peacock didn't pop. They said that the flavour was good, but Sachin's had this problem a few times where there's really good flavours, but there's one element that was out. And in this one, his pastry was too thick, top and bottom.
Yeah.
So it was like thick pastry, little layer of fruit in the middle.
Yeah,
didn't quite do it. Devon, all I wrote was...
He had a floppy slab.
All I wrote was, it's a total disaster. The dough was raw. He rolled a 1.
The DM. You go to present your pie. The dragon looks like a bloated cow.
It did, actually.
Sea cow. The dye, well, you only got a 6-face dye on there, and your fruit, well, that's just a hot mess. So, botched roll there, Devon.
So...
My heart broke for you, but I also had to have a giggle because Schadenfreude.
Mengling. They said it lacked a bit of bake.
Yep.
And they said that she had a bit of bleed there too. At which point she laughed and went, yeah, oh dear.
But her berry filling was awesome, they said.
The flavour was amazing. And they were like,
lovely.
It's punchy. It was just vibrant with flavour.
Wild.
It was
wild blueberries.
But, like, Mengling, she's amazing and wonderful and confusing and hilarious, and her flavours always seem to be quite good. It's... You're never quite sure what is going on because Mengling is never quite sure what's going on. We'll come back to that in a moment. Megan's looked wet and the dough wasn't cooked, but the flavour was amazing.
She had a soggy bottom all the way through.
Now, Rochelle, this was one of my favourite quotes of the series. Rochelle goes, maybe don't listen to Grammy. To which Megan instantly went, but she's so cute.
It's like, oh my God. Like, you can't do that. Like, they're old. They might die at any moment. You've got to listen to your grandparents.
And we listen, and speaking of listening to really important people, we have to finish this section with Mengling again because her summing up was just deep and meaningful. She turned around and said, I've never made a slab pie before, but now I have.
I know what to take to a gathering of 30 or more people. Oh gosh, she's very specific about how many people.
27 people? They can't take a slab pie. No.
It's just overkill.
Too stupid.
I'll just take a normal pie.
All right.
30 people. Oh, perfect. Bring the slab.
So we've managed to finish the first challenge. And we are on to the technical. And the technical was 12 sweet and 12 savoury palmiers. So...
I thought we got palmiers at work the other day, but they were just rolled the wrong way. They were like an S shape, like curled in. And I'm like, well, what are these? Are these palmiers or are these just, what are they? And someone said, oh, they're Danishes. I'm like, oh, that's just
disappointing.
Confusing.
All right. So a lot of people at home are going, enough for the Mengling. But when she opens up, when they say 12 palmiers of each, and she goes, oh no. And then when they go, on your marks, get set, bake. And then they're all looking at the recipe, followed by Mengling under her breath going, why? How can you not?
wonder what happened in her life for her to have such a catastrophic view of the world and like such low self-esteem when clearly she has talent.
But she's always devastated regardless of the bake.
Mengling, you've won $1 million. Oh dear.
What am I going to do? The zeros in my bank account will now not be there anymore. This was interesting. Devon was devastated at this challenge. Like, he just was depressed. And a whole pile of them had issues. Like, Timothy and Megan weren't really sure what they looked like too. Megan was convinced for 3/4 of the challenge she was going to make them look like palm trees.
Make them look like trees.
This was actually what this was testing, though. This wasn't testing flavour or anything like that. This was testing the ability to make rough puff. Yep. That's what they wanted to know. To which Devon responded by forgetting a cup of flour.
Yeah, you know.
Had to add that in later on.
Pulse it a bit more.
Sachin, I was talking about his local French pastry shop growing up. Now, we talked last week about Australia's ability to name really obvious things. You know, we've got a desert that's big and sandy, the Great Sandy Desert, right? Again, those sorts of things. So, what was the name of Sachin's local French pastry shop when he grew up?
The French pastry shop.
It was the French pastry shop.
As opposed to the Czechoslovakian one down the road.
Exactly.
Which was called Big Mills.
It was called Checkmate. So...
It was called Check Me Out.
So Devon then came up with a brand new strategy. And the brand new strategy that Devon came up with, which sounds like a winner, trust Andre.
It
and
does.
By the way... It wasn't just Devon. After Devon started trusting Andre, everybody in the pavilion just started watching whatever Andre was doing and following.
Except when he folded and they're like, oh, that's just bullshit, I'm rolling mine.
That was the problem. Now, the savoury ones had to be speck and Gruyere. I wonder if they had a deal this week with Gruyere.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it appeared a couple of times in the Showstopper as well.
What? Are they sponsored by a local...
cheese shop?
Yeah.
Maybe the local French cheese shop?
Which is called the local French cheese shop.
So, in the realm of the instructions, our instruction this week was cut to perfect thickness. That was it.
I'm sure that's an instruction like, on the script of a porno.
Cut to perfect thickness. And there's a guy in the corner going, hi. My name's... Perfect thickness. Now, you must have been very proud because your linguistic abilities are finally being recognised on the screen.
Well done, Megan. It's like Dan picked it up last week and now Megan, it was like l'oven. Perfect, Megan.
That is the best Dutch we've ever heard. Now...
So you're saying that was a Dutch oven?
Oh, we're not going back there again. Not going back there again. So Devon then kind of summed up everything that happened for poor Devon. He very casually pulled the tray out one-handed. This had the expected level of consequence. And especially the moment where they just showed the one that was wedged in the oven door. Like, everything just fell everywhere. It was a bit of a mess. And just like, oh,
the ennui was, like, fucking thick around Devon this week. It was just...
So the judging of...
So sad.
The judging of the palmiers. So, Mengling, they said that she needed to fold rather than roll.
But however,
it was baked well. It was very flaky. It had good flavour. And the savoury one was excellent. Timothy's were undercooked and too thick. Well, that would have been why they were undercooked. They were too thick. Andre's, they said that he worked them too tightly in the initial phase.
And he was lacking... to RuPaul. Mark.
And he was lacking a little bit of flavour on the savoury. As Bruno put it, I would have put in more cheese. Right you are, Bruno. I would have put in more cheese too. Even if the recipe didn't call for more cheese, I would have put more cheese.
Just on the side.
Yeah.
Just make it like a fondue, like a palmier fondue.
If anything, just put the block of cheese on top of it.
Palmier fondue.
There we go, done. Megan, they said the shape wasn't perfect and the sweet dough was raw, which is a bit of a problem. Devon's was... They said significantly overworked. And he also really lacked sugar on the sweet ones, so they weren't really sweet. Sachin's were really dense in the middle. Again, this is a bit of a trend with Devon. this is a bit of a trend with Devon because Devon on one hand manages to do some really amazing flavours, but by the same token, Devon also seems to have a bit of a problem when it comes to
execution.
Thickness of dough tends to be a big problem for him.
Hi, Devon.
Hi, Devon. Sachin.
Oh, Sachin. Sorry. Are we going on to Sachin now?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I said, it was too dense inside. There's a bit of a problem with that.
Yeah.
And the savoury one, however, though, was nice. His flavours are good. Yeah. This is the weird part with Sachin, is that his flavours are always really good.
There's always just a little thing off, though. Just like one little...
There's one element off.
It's like he would be up there and getting Star Baker and stuff, but there's always just like one thing that's just thrown off. So hopefully that changes for him in the next week. Otherwise...
We live in hope. Yeah. So Rochelle turns around because we're going through the judging. So let's go through what the judging was. So Devon came 6th.
Yes.
Devon came 6th. 5th was Timothy. 4th was Megan.
Yes.
3rd was Andre, which is it's a bit of a surprise. Sachin was 2nd. That means a technical was won by Mengling. And Rochelle's comment, you've had a cracker of a day. Busting out the Australianisms. Yes. And if ever there was an Australianism that was earned, it is that one.
Because, at the beginning, the first bake, she was the underdog. Get it? She's like...
And Mengling, no one seemed more surprised that Mengling had won a technical than Mengling was like, I won a technical in the pavilion.
She was more surprised than Tony Abbott when he won the leadership.
Stunned. Now, as if it wasn't bad enough for him already, Devon had 2 bad bakes.
Yeah.
Devon decided to double down. He turned around and said, I've kind of got a reputation for doing well at showstoppers. Why did you have the jinx?
Look, at this point, Devon, you should have just newed it up and went, fuck it, and just sat in the bottle with a bottle of champagne. As soon as you've said that, that's it.
You know that when you popped the cork at the end, Devon, and went, Oppa. What you should have done at the start of the showstopper was pop the cork and gone, Oppa! And just drunk and danced around the pavilion. Should have just had some fun. Because the showstopper was basically they had to make breakfast pastries. Now, we've seen this challenge before in British Bake Off.
We have.
6 croissants, 6 Danish, 6 sweet buns.
Yeah.
There was so much innuendo opportunity there. I am stunned that Dan was...
There wasn't enough bun top. I'm like, those are some sick buns.
Yeah, you don't want buns unless you've got sweet buns. So...
My anaconda don't want none unless you've got
sweet buns. So Mengling goes back to your Miss Positive enlightenment phase when she starts off by saying, the worst that can happen is my dough is unlaminated, it's underbaked, it's raw. Thanks, Mengling.
Do you think she's trying to take the
reverse?
It's reverse psychology towards the Bake Off gods. They hear Devon, they're like, you're screwed, and they listen to her and they're like, oh, we'll take pity on you because you don't have any confidence. On the inside, though, she's like, bitch has begotten this.
Well, there were a couple of people that tempted fate because Megan decided to use the haunted ingredient. Megan used pear. Yeah. So Megan used pear. Now, she made a candied hibiscus croissant.
But maybe she's able to look after it because she does work on the goth farm.
She does work on the goth farm.
So they're goth pears, obviously.
And they were home...
Haunted pears.
But she home pickled them, didn't she? Or was it home...
Home canned them.
Home canned them, yeah. Pear Danish and coconut lime sweet buns.
Pear Danish, the cousin of Cled. Anyway.
We haven't had dinner yet. No. And the coconut lime sweet buns, which sounds like the perfect nickname.
That her husband has given her.
That could just be a perfect... Anyone, really. Megan could have it. Anyone could have it. No. Oh, look at that walking down the street. Who is it? That's coconut lime sweet buns. Andre.
Someone's got to take that as a stripper name now.
Andre.
Yes.
So not even taking it as a stripper name. I'm moving past that. I wasn't saying Andre is a stripper. I want to make that really important. So
what if he is? Don't shame him.
Andre made many things. Look.
He's probably, like, done burlesque dancing. It wouldn't surprise me. He's a man of many talents.
He's a man of many talents. So, Andre made a...
Go on. Keep going.
What I was worried was it sounded like he was stripping to If You Knew Susie Like I Knew Susie, and that's a weird strip song. Anyway.
Keep going.
It's very hard to do. All right, because now you've got this image of Andre stripping while he's baking, and that's terrifying. Sorry, Andre. A cacao stripe croissant. So he did. So a cacao stripe croissant, which had the chocolate and... the judging will come to, but...
Yes, the chocolate was covering that...
You're a fucking wizard.
You're a wizard, Andre.
The apricot Danish, which just looked incredible, and his sweet bun just looked really good. Mm-hmm. Now, what was interesting was they were talking about the sweet buns and the croissant and in the sweet buns, and Dan goes, "I'm not." Some people put raisins in there. I'm not a raisin guy. Now, Dan, I knew there was a reason that I liked you.
You never was a raisin guy. Thought it was a good solution, hanging with the cornflake girl. Oh,
that'll do.
Yeah, we're going the opposite.
You're doing it.
You never was a raisin guy.
You had it right and stopped yourself.
Oh my god! Like
this is not real. This is not really happening.
This is not really.
You bet your life it is, Kristie. Catch up. I'm faster than you today. Catch up.
And a gun. Sorry.
Catch up. I'm faster than you. All right. Oh, shit. I just looked at my notes.
Where are we at? Point. Where are we at to? He's pointing. Yes! Mengling! Yuzu! Croissant, strawberry cream cheese, Danish, pecan sweet buns.
It's fuck the other two. It is about one thing and one thing alone. Yuzu. Now, you poor Canadian bastards have never learned my hatred for yuzu. Oh. Okay, so...
I tricked him into eating yuzu on a honeymoon.
You didn't trick me into it. I knew what it was when I tasted it. I know the flavour.
Make me sound like I'm devilishly scheming by...
You're devilishly scheming.
I bought a yuzu chocolate at...
I knew exactly. Cacao nib.
Cacao nib.
So I have a couple of things that I really greatly dislike. Matcha is my number one with an absolute bullet. But yuzu. Right, my problem with yuzu is actually not flavour. My problem with yuzu is in Australian cooking shows in particular, it is so goddamn overused. It's like matcha. It is in everything. We went through a phase of about 12 to 18 months where I think every third thing cooked contained yuzu.
Now I'm making yuzu pizza.
It's just terrifying. Sachin. Sachin made an almond and marzipan croissant.
Yes.
He made a smoked cheddar and mushroom Danish, which sounded incredible. And his orange spice sweet bun.
Yum.
Which looked a lot like a muffin.
Yes, but
I absolutely... That cheddar and mushroom Danish looked incredible.
And it was a smoked cheddar.
Smoked cheddar.
Make sure you get that right.
He was going for Devon's first bake. Yes. Smoking.
He's like, that gives me an idea. Devon, do you mind if I pop this cheddar into your oven?
He prepared it on day one.
It's butter smoked cheese.
It's the equivalent of the professional Great British Bake Off, where they have the golden hour.
Yes.
He was using Devon's smoking oven to do a golden hour smoked cheddar. So, how long has it been smoked for? Devon, how long was the oven on? All right, so Andre at this point started his folding process for those croissants. This man is just a technical... Forget everything else. Forget even flavour or anything like that. Watch Andre and watch Andre's technique.
It is flawless.
Andre is the most technically gifted baker I think I've ever seen in any series of Bake Off. Ever. I said the other day, top 5. After watching his pastries today, he's the best. He's the best I've ever seen.
You don't understand what this man has been through. Like, we finally...
So, we'll go through that in a bit more detail a bit later with him, because I want to say that. I want to bottle that up. But Andre's done everything. This man is incredible. And that technique...
His burlesque routine.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
His high kicks. Better than any high kick on the planet.
Yeah. He knows how to work a fan.
That time that he won the Stanley Cup by himself. He played defence, he played goal, he was the centre and the right and left winger and passed. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Canadian Olympic team.
Perfect.
All Andre.
So, Devon tried to win my girlish heart by going with an espresso croissant.
Which is perfect.
It is the way to do it. Coffee.
Yes.
When in doubt, caffeine me.
Yes.
Black, like my heart. The Swiss Chard Danish, which looked really good, and the hazelnut chocolate bun. Yes. And this is where Devon talked about the idea of the scraps. So he said, when we were growing up, we saved the scraps. That's what we did. And I know it was a heartwarming story, but I couldn't help but feel like they just used them for everything. Like, what we're doing today, kids, we're going to get the scraps of dough. We're going to use them to, well, hang on a minute, what do we got? You need some toilet paper? Roll it thin. Roll it thin. Oh my God, there's a gap in that window. I'll fix it. Roll the dough. Roll the dough. Can you see through it? Stretch it out. There we go, a new window.
Mum, I need a new pair of shoes. Hold on a second.
Let me bake you some out of it. Devon had the most delicious shoes at the school. Timothy. So Timothy made the Hong Kong pineapple buns that were shaped like a bear.
They were so cute.
As Bruno put it. Like what? He's like...
Dan's face, though, went to a different kind of bear. I'm like, a little more grrr, a little less...
So,
David?
But Timothy turned around, is like, when he's talking about the Hong Kong pineapple buns, and Rochelle's like, oh, yes, I know those. They're wonderful technique. And Bruno's like, yes, the wonderful technique. And yes, he goes, I'm going to shape them like a bear. What? Like what? Like, Bruno had no concept of what that was. Fried mushroom Danish.
Yum.
Again, looked good. And he made his almond croissant. Now, at this point, we cut back to Dan.
Yes.
And now Dan has been walking around the pavilion at this point in time. And he's not really been feasting.
No, it's a little sad.
And then the question got asked.
Surely he swooped in on Devon's brokens.
Would you like to try an almond croissant?
Oh my God, now I know why Dan's boyfriends are happy.
At that point, Dan made the croissant disappear.
It was like...
And I had a newfound respect.
Yes. It's like there's this movie that was shown on SBS a lot called Courtesan or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, she basically went into... She was a courtesan, of course. It's like set in, like, not Vienna, what's the one with Venice? And she's like there with all the old biddies who are like, calling her a whore, which she basically was. She's picked up a banana, peeled it, and just in one gulp... Gone. So, the judging.
Because this just before the judging, of course, is when Devon actually did his oppa with that much enthusiasm. So suctions, they said, smelt great. There was great lamination on the croissant. The butter was really good. The layers in the Danish were awesome, and his sweet bun was incredible.
Yeah.
So suction had a big rebound. Mengling had the opposite. She went back to...
She's like, I only need to fold this twice.
And we got what we sometimes get, which is a Rochelle telling somebody off when she gets into, like, schoolmistress phase.
It's Mommy Michelle.
Yes.
Mom Michelle.
Rochelle. We've almost gone the whole episode without you misnaming somebody. This is good. It was laminated, but not laminated enough. Yes. The pecan flavour was good, but it was also underbaked. They said that the Danish had an awesome flavour, but they weren't flaky enough. They said that Megan's sweet buns were delicious. Her Danish looked amazing and the flavour was beautiful. However, the croissant, which looked stunning...
Was cakey.
They said it was almost like a bread. And they said that it was lacking a bit of moisture, and she was upset by that until they said, but the flavour's really good.
Yeah.
Devon. They said that the Chard and the Gruyere tasted amazing. No flake. They said the croissant also lacked flakiness, but the flavour was great. And they said the problem was that he made the buns out of scrap dough, and both doughs were problematic.
Yes. Bad dough,
Then we got Andre.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do, though? Vote you out, bad dough. Okay, yeah, Andre. Not
Andre.
Oh, sorry, he's...
Bruno turned... Start me off. Bruno turned around and said, if I ask for room service in Paris, this is what I get. The croissants were perfect. The texture was incredible. The Danish was stunning. The sweet buns were layered to perfection. And they were pulling the layers apart to show everyone. And then the moment of the episode for me was as Andre walked back, there's Dan. He's got the basket in his arms and he's like halfway through a croissant. And the best smile on his face. They said that the bears looked cute, tasted really good. The different types of dough worked. The croissants were great. They said the Danish smelt divine and the flavour matched it. It was pretty obvious, unfortunately. Yeah. I wrote down who was going home and who the star baker was before they got to the debating.
And there was no hiding it. Like,
no,
there's nowhere to hide now. There was only 6 in the pavilion.
Look, Devon sidestepped last week a little bit. This week there was no sidestepping there.
No.
And look, we got it. And we'll finish off with a tribute to Devon.
Yes.
But Andre, overwhelmingly star baker. And you couldn't argue that either.
No.
Look, up until the showstopper, it was Mengling. It really was. So Devon, we lose
our favourite lunch meat personified.
We lose our favourite lunch meat personified. It's
he's gone back to the great delicatessen in the sky
in Regina. So we're going to finish with a tribute to him. But until next week, I'm still Chris,
and I'm still Kristie.
We'll catch you all then. Regina, experience Regina, Regina, experience Regina.